shift, your husband is on night shift and stuff. And so there was this conversation, should a couple that have been married for so many years now have a sex timetable? And it was a very robust conversation that some people were for it, some people were against it. Some people said that, okay, let me not give my opinion, but what's your take on couples having a sex timetable? Monday is this, Tuesday, and so on. But hold on, sir. Before you answer my question, I think we have a phone call. So
wow, already?
Yes. Everybody wants to talk to him. Hello, caller. Welcome to the Melting Pot. Your name, and you have 60 seconds. Hello, can you hear me?
I want coach's answer. We'll get to that person later. I'm hungry to hear this answer. I think the person is not.
So whilst we work on that on the back end, let's hear your take on the sex timetable.
Interestingly, it's very simple and straightforward. As you grow in marriage, you will need both. You need scheduled and spontaneous. You can't do without one. You need both.
You see?
Yes. When you get married, have kids, have a tight schedule, you will realize that it's very easy to drift apart. No marriage, breaks overnight. It breaks over time. And it's because when life happens, you find out you are more and more tired. I tell young guys that, look, you better marry on time. That's why it's called the wife of your youth. Marry on time when you have energy. As you get older, you'll find out when you see a bed, you are more interested in sleep than in sex because of how tired and busy you are. So you need both. You need to schedule because that puts some commitment into it. Then sometimes when there's an advantage of the spontaneous stuff, for sure, take advantage of it. But if your schedule is tight, the spontaneous, you'll find out is very, very reduced as time goes on. So the scheduled now becomes the lifesaver or the lifeline for the marital sex. So you need both, all right? And you need to come up with certain rules as a couple because sex is an important part of marriage. So come up with certain rules. Part of it is that, we must do our best to make sure we don't go beyond this kind of time without having sex. Something like that is part of how you schedule. It's not necessarily that you say June 15th. But you can say, hey, please, let's make sure that we don't go a whole week or beyond a week and we've not had sex. We do it in my house. Sometimes my wife will be like, you've not kissed me in 3 days. We have those barriers that it's getting too long. This is way too long. All right. And that prompts us. And we say, I've not kissed in 3 days. It's like, that. We can get crazy busy. So yours might not be 3 days. I'm just using that as an example. So have those little boundaries where you say, we can't go without a week without sex. And other agreement we have, like for instance, in our own house, if one person, we have the agreement that nobody turns the other one down sexually. So if anybody wants sex, you must comply. Now, if for any reason you are not able to do it at the time, the person that said no must initiate as soon as possible. So I shouldn't ask you twice.
What if you have headaches now? What if you have headaches?
That's the commitment of marriage. If you have headaches, your kids are ill, you find out that you don't think about your headache. That's what marriage does for you. There are 7 purposes of marriage. It's part of what I'll share when I come to Saskatoon. There are 7 purposes of marriage. One of the purposes of marriage is to build your character. So you learn to do things you don't feel like doing. So you will start with your spouse. Your kids will finish the job where you will learn that you're not more living for yourself. So if you're not ready to make those sacrifices, marriage is not for you at all. It's part of the purposes of marriage. It builds your character. So we say marriage is not for your satisfaction. It's for your sanctification. It's not for your happiness. It's for your holiness. So it stretches you, makes you a better version of yourself. You have better character. You're able to show up even when you have stress, personal stress, but you're not projecting that on your spouse and on your kids. So, basic rules like that. So you need both spontaneous and scheduled. But it doesn't have to be June 15, 3 p.m. All right? If that works for you, if that works for you, that's also okay. That's because when you have kids or things like that, sometimes you need to schedule when you take the kids away, somebody come and take the kids away and you guys can have sex, or you need to plan when the kids are asleep, or when they are in school, My wife always talks about there are 2 kinds of sex. There's beautiful sex and there's dutiful sex. And there are 2 types. Beautiful sex is when we have the time, both of us are in the mood, and all the works, the whole process is there. But dutiful sex, one person wants, the other person doesn't want, or we don't have the time for the luxury. We just have to put in something quickly, before the tank goes totally dry. So in dutiful sex, it can be brief. Everybody's not going to be satisfied to have the whole work, but you're serving your partner with it.
Yeah.
And my wife always says, if you even do dutiful sex well, it can even end up being beautiful. All right. So you'll have to know those days. Some days are beautiful sex. We are lazy at home. Nobody's rushing out. The kids are not around, or they are busy doing something, and we have some time. Some other time, we just know we have 5 minutes to get this done. The kids are going to wake up anytime from now, or they have to go to school, or we have to go to church. Sunday morning sex is good sex. So stuff like that. Yeah.
Thank you so much for
you
keeping
so
it
much.
real.